One thing we talk about a lot on the Dear Marketer show is what it really takes to build a brand in spaces where everything feels the same, where you're not just fighting competitors, you're fighting defaults and sometimes indifference. That's why today's guest is such a perfect fit. I'm going to be speaking with Raja Chakraborty, who's had the incredible journey from Babool to Nerolac to Raymond, and now the CMO of Continental Coffee. In this episode of Dear Marketer, we get into category creation, competing without price wars, and scaling across cultures, especially in B2B markets where differentiation isn't just hard, it's often invisible. Raja, thank you for joining me in this episode of Dear Marketer. Welcome to Zoho.
Pleasure meeting you.
So I want to start by asking you this first question. So when I was going through your profile, I saw that your academic journey is nothing less than a Christopher Nolan's movie with a lot of plot twists, starting with physics, then with criminology, and then finally with marketing. So tell me how that happened.
To be very honest, it is more like Indian middle class syndrome, okay? Where when we grow up, I think many of us really do not know what we want to do.
Right.
But as far as I was concerned, of course, after 12th, I graduated in physics. I did my BSc from Bombay University. After that, I think I didn't want to kind of pursue masters. And one of the reasons behind I didn't want to pursue masters, to be honest, that I felt it is too long a journey. And I wanted to do something professional. So as a result, it was not that I was kind of, I would say, very clear that I want to do management. I actually wanted to get into defense. So I wrote Combined Defense Services exam.
Wow, okay.
I actually got through it. I went to Allahabad, which is called as a services selection board. There were around 200 guys, so I didn't clear it. I came back. Parallelly, I had written TISS, which is Tata Institute of Social Sciences. So I got through that. And I was still preparing for CAT and CET and all these things. So since I got through Tata Institute of Social Sciences, I took admission in MA in criminology.
Okay.
I think life is always, in hindsight, I think in hindsight was a great thing for me because campuses make a major difference to you. Especially, campus like TISS, which is a very old and therefore culturally very rich campus. Again, Indian middle class syndrome. So we think that, MBA makes us earn more. So I got into MBA. But I must tell that I think in hindsight, you always end up doing sometimes or maybe most of the times which we're destined to do. So I think, the entire doing MBA, for the first time I studied economics in my first year. I loved economics. Then I majored in marketing. And I think in last 25, 26 years that I have been working, I feel I really like what I do.
So at Babool, when you were taking care of marketing over there was a dominant player already. Colgate was in the dominant player. So that there it was more about how can you build a challenger brand and how can you compete with the already legacy brand existing in the market. So what was your counterintuitive thought for building strategy for Babool?
So I think first of all, businesses are not built by individuals. They are built by teams. And I think, whether it is Babool or any other organization where I have worked in, and it is both internal team and external team, especially when you are building brands, it is a lot to do also with the external team and talent that you're working with. So I think on Babool, it has been both. So first of all, in the year 2000, when I started handling Babool, I managed it for around, I think, 4 to 5 years. Apart from Colgate, it was Pepsodent, which was a very large player. Pepsodent today is not that strong, but those days it was very strong. Some brands are still there. There is a brand called Anchor Toothpaste, which was very strong then. HUL had launched a price fighter brand called AIM. It is not there now. And of course, Close-Up was also there. So that was, I would say, the ecosystem apart from Colgate. Yeah, and Colgate also had Cibaca. It is still there. So I think it was a very, very competitive market. Largely a duopolistic market between Colgate and HUL. Balsara always was a very innovative company. So this brand, Babool, and the other brands like Promise, Meswak, Odonil, Odomos, that was the brand portfolio of us. And Balsara was it was a startup company in those days, started by Mr. Balsara way back, I think in 1980s. And it was a very innovative company with products which are very innovative. So whether it is Babool, whether it is Promise, whether it is Odonil, these brands are still there today. And they were very unique brands in those days. But I think, Babool was launched in 1984 and it had a great time because it was launched as a prize fighter at a time when toothpaste was very expensive in India. And the initial campaign of Babool, which was done by Mr. Balsara, was called Babool Babool Paise Vasool. And that time it was an innovation. So it reached a market share of almost 16% in India. So it was already a successful brand. But by the time liberalization happened in India, the Indians' per capita income increased and so the Indians' aspirations. And what we saw is that late 90s to 2000, Babool started stagnating. In fact, it started declining and then it became stagnant. And that was the problem statement that, let's say, we had in the early 2000s, that how do we, and it was our largest brand at that point of time, not Promise or Meswak we launched much later. So our problem statement was, how do we really reignite? I think one of the great things that happened is that we partnered with McCann Erickson. And it was Santosh Desai who actually kind of came up with a very good insight. And the insight they came up with, that Indian aspirations are changing. And it also, and during the same time, we had done certain other researches which showed that while consumers were buying our brand, but they are not very proud of buying Babool. So it was that I am buying Babool because I cannot afford Colgate. And therefore it was no more an aspirational brand for my own user, which means that if he has more money, he will shift. And he connected this with the social reality that consumers today are no more, that they have accepted their social reality. They are always aspiring for more, even if they do not have more today. And as a result, the price positioning of Babool is no more relevant. It is McCann which asked us to change the positioning. And I think my role, or our management's role, our marketing head that time was a very good person called Sanjeev Agarwal. I think our role was to convince the family that, you have to give up this positioning and we have to take a risk. And I think we took that risk, taking up a positioning of fresh start to the day. And in Hindi, the advertising was that Subh Babool ki to din tumhara. And it came from an insight that, in India, Shuprabhatam, as we call, ki mornings, for Indians, it is very important. Prasoon made a, good campaign for us, Subh Babool ki to din tumhara. Again, I think our campaign was very different because in those days, campaign was all about very functional benefit, dental problems. They were serious, campaign. So on one hand, Colgate would say that it will make your teeth stronger. And Pepsodent was focusing on germ kill. And then there was Close Up, which was in gel. Babool was not a gel toothpaste, which was about attracting the opposite sex. So in the white toothpaste space, there was nobody which was enhancing or talking about this fact about the category, that it gives you a great start to the day. And I think we took that step. Our campaign was not serious. It was made an ad where Shubha Mudgal sang a song for us, Subh Babool ki to din tumhara.
You took an emotional angle.
We took an emotional angle and it brought alive the great start to the day through a toothpaste, through the campaign. At that time, which is the early 2000s, in toothpaste, the lowest price point was 10 rupees, which was both Colgate and Pepsodent and even Close Up had. The second point is that 5 rupees and 1 rupee was the new coin. And the whole insight that I came back with, that it is put down price, which is very important. It is not about, what is your per kg pricing.
Fruity also had these small green color.
Because for a lot of people, especially in essential categories like toothpaste, It is the put down price which makes they don't calculate so much. I felt that 5 rupees is becoming the new currency. It is getting so much of traction in foods, and there is no 5 rupees toothpaste. How about creating a 5 rupees toothpaste in the category? I think, had this entire understanding from consumers that the other thing about toothpaste was that all the 10 rupees toothpaste that Levers and Colgate had, it never had a carton. They were only in a tube because they wanted to reduce the cost and keep it very profitable. But we came with that insight that consumers associate a lot of value with carton because they believe that if it is in a carton, there is higher utility value. Okay, there is a higher value perception. So our brief to our packaging, and we worked with our R&D to create a product which will be decently profitable at 5 rupees. It must come in a carton and inside that should be a tube. It was less profitable compared to other SKUs, but still it was decently profitable, and we need to create a 5 rupees. So I took that initiative completely, and we launched a 5 rupees Babool. In fact, internally and even externally, our communication also called as Chota Babool.
That was a very elaborate explanation that you gave, almost like a case study. We'll probably go to Google and search for how did this brand grow. And
you may not get it.
we will not get it. So it's almost like an audio or video format that we got for our audience. Thank you so much for that. Next question would be on category creation. So we're talking about Raymond, which you built it to be a 400 crore business, which was primarily in suits. And then you are building a vertical for men's grooming. And at that point in time, men's beauty, this thing was not considered as a big thing. It was right now, still people are not focusing much, but there is development now. But back then it was not this much as well. So that is one. And second one, when you're talking about Nerolac, you built it to a 300 crore business in a category creation for interior emulsion, right? How does a marketing strategy work for category creation in this case? Both
in case of Nerolac paints as well as in case of Raymond, there were very different challenges. In Nerolac, we were not an emulsion company. Nerolac was largely an industrial paints company, which still it is. And that time, we were a very strong distemper enamel company. Distemper enamel sells through the trade. Emulsion is the consumer-facing brand. Again, like Balsara, this was also a very duopolistic business. There were only two major players, rather three, but two major players. One is Asian Paints, and the second is AkzoNobel, which those days used to be called as ICI, Dulux, Velvet Touch. So we were like a third brand, and again Nerolac had tried, but it was not successful. I think again here, it was all about consumer insighting. We started with very deep consumer research, and the brief from us was primarily that, to the research agency, and we had tied up with Quantum, which is a research agency in India. We said that we don't only want to understand paints, we want to understand home decor and what role does paint plays in it today, and come back to us with, how different consumers associate with home decor and paints differently. And I think in brief, we came up with singular understanding that there were two kinds of consumers. One for whom home decor is a destination, means you have beautified your home once and then you will look into it after 10 years. But there were also a set of consumers who were more younger. They were more nuclear families living in metros or even in non-metros. But there was a mindset for whom home decor was not a destination, it was a process. It was just like, fashion. And for them, they would make small changes to the home because the housewife or the husband would get bored with the same thing. And it can be just changing the upholstery or the, let's say, color of your sofa, not the sofa per se. But you want to keep refreshing and therefore it is a process. So we felt that paint, the leaders, they had gone with a more traditional way, which is, कि हर घर कहता है इसमें कौन रहता है, great insight, but it was the traditional way of looking at home decor, which is that it is a destination. एक बार कर लोगे, it is your social status. But there is a set of consumer for it. It is beyond social status. It is also internal satisfaction, and they are more experimental. And we therefore worked with a complete product portfolio. We completely, I would say, took a very different approach. And the approach that we took is that, first of all, because we're an industrial company, we had access to paint technologies like designer finishes, which were not very widely spread in those days. So we said that why not take an approach where we position Nerolac as a brand which can help consumers change the look of the brand with just one wall. And the face of our campaign was not the solid color, but it was designer finishes. So we brought in innovative product like marble finish, Venetian finish, metallic finish paints, and we made that as the face. Although consumers still ended up buying solid colors only, because consumers generally, take a time to really change habits. But it certainly gave us great noticeability. Again, I think we associated with McCann only. Okay. I only kind of, got them to Nerolac. And we created a campaign with Raghu Manish, who are right now in Scarecrow. They were also very fresh. And we created a campaign with, which called, कि लोग शालिनी चोपड़ा के घर में क्यों झांकते हैं? And it was because उनकी दीवारों में है Nerolac के designer finishes. Okay. So
that was the hook.
That was the hook. And we said that, with your home, you become a style icon because your home is so stylish. So we took, I would say, a more home decor lens to paints rather than just a paint lens to paints. And we spoke to a more younger audience. Right. And it certainly helped us. Apart from this, in this whole execution, I studied the global markets a lot to see that how globally paint is sold. And one of the things that I did then is that for my premium emulsion finish, I changed the way my shade cards were. So I studied Behr Paint, Sherwin-Williams, which are large companies in US and other parts of the world. And if you go to developed countries, their shade cards are not this small with small patches. They're very large, where you have got large patches. Then they say that this patch, how different color combinations can make your home look. So it is like a very large booklet. So we made those changes also. And I think all of it together, which is different product, completely different positioning, which was very different from how the traditional brands were doing it. Taking the same also in the consumer experience, because paints is a very different category. It is not like toothpaste that you've seen an ad and you have gone to an outlet and bought it. You call a contractor and you ask him. So when the contractor is also talking to him and recommending him Nerolac premium emulsion, the shade card itself will take that same experience, that it will help you experiment. We created some tools, very simple tools like color wheel. Color wheel is nothing but a combination of primary and secondary color, but it eases your way to choose that what should be the color combination, complementary contrast. All of it, I think, came together. And certainly we were able to break into the emulsions category. I think in around 18 months time, we reached around 11% market share. In a very, see, the challenge in businesses which are duopolistic is to break the shackle. And you can only break the shackle when you don't follow table stakes. Similarly, I would say in case of Park Avenue, which was our brand in Raymond, and this was the men's grooming brand. I think Park Avenue, we believed that men's grooming, of course, you are right that, generally there are only so many avenues for men's grooming. First of all, we were in fragrances, and for men, unlike women, who have got many more things to look good, men possibly depend a lot more how they smell. And therefore, fragrance is an integral part. I think for us, we always believed that, again, we believed that we need to take a different route. And fragrance have primarily two routes. One route is about attraction, attracting the opposite sex. But the other is also, standing out among your peers, among your society, in your professional circuit. Because men also have two lifestyles or two life stages. One, when you're young, you don't really bother so much about life. Friends are your, are your life. But then comes a stage when you enter into the professional life and suddenly you as a human start changing. Therefore, we see it across our choices. Like when I was a student, I would wear Peter England. But when I started working, then suddenly my need for a Zodiac or an Arrow started, right? So therefore, product may remain same, but you want to associate with a brand which is more mature, which is more aspirational. Because success is also the other driver. If attraction is one driver, becoming successful is another driver. So I think Park Avenue stood for success.
Right.
And we believe that we are enabler. And if you have to be successful, you have to have an X factor in you. And Park Avenue will provide you that X factor through great fragrances and other men's grooming product. So we completely rebranded Park Avenue as a brand that unleashes your X factor. That was our brand essence. And we kept very premium advertising. The imagery was very premium because we spoke to an aspirational guy. We spoke to the need of success. Making it big in your life.
You spoke to the person who he wants to be.
He wants to be. We were not talking to a college grad. And that's how I think we were very different. We were extremely aspirational. And it certainly helped us. And again, in the journey of Park Avenue, lots and lots of innovations.
Right.
These are small innovations, lots and lots. And all of that, helped us. So just to give one example. So in deodorants, generally, you have got only 150 ml deodorants. But we were the first brand which launched a 250 ml deodorant. And this came with a very simple consumer insight that deodorants are sold, even today, 30 to 35% of deodorant sales come from modern trade. And when it comes to modern trade, which is Reliance and all this kind of outlet, people go to modern trade for value. That is why you may be buying a 200 ml shampoo from a small outlet. But when you go to a big modern trade outlet, you will see even there you have got these large packs of shampoo, right? 500 ml and all. So that is how modern trade sells, because consumers seek value over there, and you give value by larger packs where the pricing is more attractive. So we thought, how about creating a 250 ml deodorant? We were the first brand. One SKU, it is still there. We have got two ranges, blue range and white range. So we have a fragrance called Voyage. We made one SKU 70 crores turnover.
We have to talk about Continental Coffee now.
Sure.
First thing that I noticed across your digital platform is the word that says India's #3 coffee brand. Normally in marketing, if you are number one, then say you're number one. Anything below number one, say pioneer or something best, one of the best or something like that, you can add as a positioning and then you can put it across your digital. But never say you're 2, never say you're 3. That's something that has been fed conventionally into marketers, right? When I see number 3, it kind of feels very genuine. Okay, a brand is coming out and saying they're number 3. Number 3 is also not something small. We always think that number 1 is the accolade, but no, number 3 is not small. And when they're saying number 3, then okay, there is a certain level of genuinity in their communication is something that I can get from that. So tell me about Continental Coffee being this top number 3 brand in India, and also has got in 110 countries with 400 customers. So tell me about the marketing strategy behind Continental Coffee.
Continental Coffee, first of all, you're saying, okay, we do take a lot of pride about being number 3, but that doesn't mean that we don't want to become a number 1.
Okay.
But I think the thing that we are taking pride, because this is also a very, very competitive category where the leading brand was having, is not having right now, but the leading brand was having more than 50% market share, which means it is also a sort of duopolistic business. There are a lot of large companies which are still there, multinationals, who have tried to get into coffee and have been unsuccessful. So compared to that, we are a fairly mid-sized, I would say, Indian company. We have been able to break into this duopolistic market with success. And I think that's why we take a lot of pride. And it has not come easy. It has taken us 5, 6, 7 years. But yes, I think breaking this, I would say, duopoly, making it a success in a category where some other multinationals and very large behemoth companies have tried, still trying, but not been able to crack it. I think that certainly is a matter of satisfaction, but that doesn't mean that our aspiration has stopped at number 3.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
When I'm talking about Continental Coffee, you have a huge establishment for B2B exports, right? Now, for the last 7 years, you've always also been investing a lot in B2C as well. Your extra, then there is special, there's Malgudi. Malgudi is something that we consume at our home also.
Right.
So, why did you want to venture into B2C when you were already successfully doing B2B exports to 400 customers?
See, our customer base, first of all, in B2B is constantly expanding. Today, we are in around 110 plus countries, selling to different kind of customer bases. So that is a very successful business, and we do it globally. I think the reason for our founding members, our founding chairman, our managing director to venture into B2C, I would say that, you know, there's a little bit of emotion in it, because our founding chairman, Mr. Chella Rajendra Prasad, you know, started Continental Coffee at a time when India was only exporting coffee beans to the world. We sold coffee to Europe and America, and in Europe and America, made in India, those days, in a category like coffee, which is a developed category, made in India instant coffee, certainly was a tough battle to take. So I think he himself was a visionary, and I would call him a very, not just visionary, courageous, but very innovative. It takes guts to do that. That, you know, from a country which was producing beans and selling beans, he had the vision to convert those beans into instant coffee, make it in India and sell it. And that is a different story altogether, because he did in a time when no one else was manufacturing instant coffee other than maybe some multinational. And therefore, for him, Continental is always a make in India story. It started maybe in the 1980s. So that is, I would say, is the emotional result, that if we have been able to do it in a sector where only and only multinational players were there, we have sold making in India in Europe and America, how about doing the same thing in our own country? And I think that was the starting point, that they wanted to do it. Okay. Second, I think from a business standpoint, anyways, it helps, because you know, there are very few companies, although, you know, in the world which have made this kind of transition from B2B as well as B2C. Very few companies, maybe one can call it Amazon is you know, a B2B as well as a B2C company. In foods, maybe a McCain, which is a B2B as well as a B2C, but very few companies. I think because we had a backward integration, we have very strong manufacturing, processes. And not just in India, we have 4 manufacturing plants. We have 2 in India, we have 1 in Vietnam, and we have 1 packing facility in Switzerland. So therefore, the backward integration also gave us confidence that we can do it, which many other players didn't have.
So in B2B specifically, what does your customer acquisition model look like? Because B2B acquisition is tricky, right? So how does your model look like, customer acquisition?
See, first of all, you know, coffee as a category is a lot about technology, because if you are going to Europe today, Europe is you know, moving towards sustainable coffees, specialty coffees. There is a lot more demand for freeze-dried coffee. These are different technologies. If you go to the Southeast Asian markets, the demand is for premix coffee. Roast and ground is now becoming important. So first of all, I think, you know, as an organization, we are one of the few organizations which have the scale, because in terms of your capacity, which has the width in terms of your presence in different markets. So, you know, I can deliver stocks from Europe, I can deliver from Southeast Asia, I can deliver from India, and we have the technologies. All of it, there are very few players who bring all of it together. I think, first of all, that is one of the reasons why we are able to acquire customers, because when it comes to customer acquisition model, it is not only about the front end, what do you do, but it is more about that why should they choose you over others. So I think that is our competitive strength and competitive advantage, which will bring on table for all the customers who are seeking coffee. In terms of customer acquisition model, it is a very relationship driven model, but we have basically teams based out of India, we have got teams based out of Europe, We have got teams based out of America who are doing the business development in those parts of the world, which is more, I would say, physical, face-to-face meeting, cold callings, stuff like that. So that is one, I would say, lead gen source model. Because in terms of companies who are seeking coffee, there are only possibly so many. But again, there are different sectors. One is who are seeking coffee for self-consumption, which are brands, private labels, so retailers like Tesco, Costco, Morrisons, etc. Brands, which are making, they are branded players themselves. So there are private label players, there are branded players. There are also some other B2B players who are possibly, buying bulk coffee and then repacking it and selling. So even for that matter, there are commodity traders like Olam or Sukafina, these kind of commodity traders who would buy it from us and then sell it to others. And then there are other sectors where coffee goes as an ingredient, but they are not coffee makers. So whether you're a biscuit maker, you are making, let's say, cold coffee, this thing, you are a premix maker, you are making confectionery. Coffee itself does go into many other categories. So I think we have a kind of a business development team who identify these sectors. They reach out to the decision makers. So I would say it is more traditional way of lead gen. But as times are changing, we are now also kind of deploying digital into lead gen mechanism. LinkedIn is becoming an important source because ultimately we are talking to professionals in this segment. But a lot here is still traditional, where you have to convince the customer, and hence it is the competitive strength, competitive advantage. The other aspect that I think we bring in B2B, that we are possibly one of the few players who can give you a complete visibility from design to development. We bring some of those capabilities. I mean, you can just come up with that I need a product. We will help you create a packaging design, identifying the packaging material. So complete design, 360-degree services, if you have to say, you can get that. And right from the time you have given your order till the time you have got your order, we can give you real-time tracking. So I think there are technological developments happening which enhances consumer trust and transparency. There are solution which is, we are expanding the bouquet. So what suit you want, you can get it from us, but we are really making our customers' life easier. And then there are competitive strengths that we are bringing on table, which not many players can bring in terms of technology, delivery, capacity, type of coffee. I think all of it together is helping us in the customer conversion model. But still, I would say it is still very relationship driven.
Okay. One last question that I want to ask you, which will be about the different marketing channels that you use. Primarily, what I can see is I've seen a lot of Continental Coffee ads. Of course, you're doing performance, and a lot of it, of course, is going into influencer marketing as well. When I was visiting Hyderabad, I'd been to Nexus and I saw one of your coffee kiosk also. So experiential marketing is something that you're investing in as well. Can you elaborate more on that?
See, in terms of marketing channels or marketing communication channels, I think it is multimedia. So as far as South is concerned, because South is very, very strong coffee market, here it is certainly multimedia. So television, of course, is there. But I think where we try to, I would say, build our own competitive advantage is in digital and experiential marketing. Because I may not be able to win, let's say, on television, but I can certainly do a much better job on digital. So I think, I would also ask you to go and see our Instagram page. You will see that, we really, really invest a lot on influencer marketing. And when I say influencer marketing, they are micro influencers, nano influencers. And we give our influencers a lot of flexibility to create content the way they want to do. And hence, if you see our content, they will be far more original. It's not like a typical brand speak. And I think my belief is that it is helping us to build a stronger emotional connect with the South Indian consumers. Because in every state, whether it is Tamil Nadu or Karnataka, you have to connect with them. They have to feel like that you are a part of their life and part of their culture. Because coffee in Tamil Nadu and Karnataka especially is an integral part of the culture. So I think influencer and digital campaigns are doing that for us. We certainly in the metros, we focus also on experiential marketing. So Hyderabad, for example, we actually took for 3 months, we took over the food court in Nexus Mall. So that's how it was not just a kiosk, but it was a lot of branding on the food court, including a kiosk, but also we do a lot of anamorphic outdoor. In Bangalore we did, in Nexus Mall we did, where it's all 3D, coffee is coming almost live to you. So I think we tried to create impact in the metro towns, whether it is through experiential outdoors, which nowadays we call it as DOOH, which is digital out of home, right? Experiential campaigns, which a lot of sampling, because if you have to get to people's heart, maybe it is by the sipping the coffee itself, which competition doesn't do. So we do a lot of sampling and a lot of digital marketing. I would say influencer marketing is very important. And apart from this, a lot of performance marketing also, because we are very strong in e-commerce, and e-commerce is a lot about performance marketing. That's a completely different funnel and type of search ads, display ads that you run, whether it is on Amazon or on quick commerce platforms. So I think we are doing, I would say, everything. But yes, we are trying to create our strengths in the non-TV, and wherever possible, we are trying to create impact rather than, only reach.
So that brings us to the end of the main segment. Next, we have the rapid fire segment.
Sure.
The questions are expected to be rapid and 1 or 2 sentence answers. Okay. So these are questions that you would not know. I'm hoping for some quirky answers from you as well. Okay.
I hope so. I don't know. I'm not that quirky. Yeah.
Okay. So let's start with the first question. If a competitor commoditized your entire category with a cheaper alternative, what non-product lever, example service, community financing, would you compete on?
See, I think in food, you can only degrade your product to a certain extent.
Okay.
Right? Okay. So I think you always have to compete on the product only.
Product only. Okay.
Yes, because no competitor can make the product so cheap, because without degrading the product.
Right.
And ultimately when I'm consuming it, I as consumers we can figure out whether it is good or bad.
Yeah, true.
Unlike,
quality
let's
matters,
say, quality matters. Absolutely. So therefore I think I'm not going to use anything else. I'm just going to stay with consistency of quality.
Okay, got it. Second question. What's a marketing tactic that worked a decade ago in B2B that would fail today, and what replaced it?
I think marketing tactic which worked, let's say, in the B2B, although I have less experience of B2B, but I think in general, I think the world has moved from just price to greater trust and transparency.
Right.
Only price is no more the way to win. Price is important in B2B for sure, but it is the intangibles, which works far greater, and B2B companies which create those intangible benefits stronger have been more successful.
Got it. Okay. Next question. If you had to eliminate 80% of your marketing channels to focus on just one, which one would you pick?
It's a very difficult question, because to be honest, you cannot do that.
Right. Okay.
But if such a kind of thing was there, I think I will pick digital, and within digital also I will pick creating very, very emotional content, which people would love. Because if people love a content, then only they will love the brand.
Right.
It is not the other way around.
Got it. Okay. One traditional marketing tactic that still outperforms digital.
I think it's not about outperformance. It is more about that only digital still is not good enough to build a brand, more from a performance standpoint. So if your aspiration is to build a very large brand, then at some point of time, at least in India, let's say in the context of coffee, but in general, at least in India, television is still important. Therefore, digital is still not outperforming mass media.
Right.
Even for startups, you can become a 50 crores brand, 100 crores brand by being D2C. But even a Mamaearth has to advertise on TV.
Yeah, true.
So that's, I think, is the truth about India.
Yeah.
And therefore, digital is yet not able to fully outperform,
Right.
Mass media.
Okay. Last question. Biggest myth about building brands in commoditized categories?
I think, commoditization is in our mind. Okay. When we say commoditized categories, by that, actually, commoditized categories means that there is difficult creating functional differentiation between one product and another product.
Right.
But you can always create emotional differentiation.
Right.
You can always find out other ways to differentiate. You have to figure out how to decommoditize it.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Amazing. A lot of different take I got for all of these answers, and with that we end the rapid fire.
Yeah.
Next we move on to the have you ever segment. So there is a thumbs up. And
That means I have done it.
You've done it.
Okay.
If you have not done it, thumbs down.
Okay.
If you would not want to answer, there's a smiley as well.
Okay.
Okay. So I'll hand
Great.
them over to you.
Okay.
Have you ever ignored research to trust your gut on a marketing decision? Yes? Okay.
Yes.
Second question. Have you ever faced resistance from sales team when rebranding a stagnant product? No. They've always been supportive of the...
Yes.
Right. Okay. Third question. Have you ever discovered a game-changing insight by observing users offline?
Yes.
Yes. Do you want to share one insight that...
I think so many examples I gave you.
Right,
Just,
okay.
that parachute 1 rupee.
Yeah.
I don't know whether they're game changing or not, but they are certainly very rooted insights which you translate into actions.
Right. Okay. Next question. Have you ever disagreed with a CEO on branding and been proven right? Okay. Last question. Have you ever bought a competitor's product anonymously to test their customer experience?
Yes.
Yes.
Many times.
Okay. Got it. So yeah, with that we end the Have You Ever and also the entire episode.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining in this episode, because this particular episode turned out to be a masterclass, which you will not find in any ChatGPTs or Googles of the world. Only people who have gotten their hands dirty on the ground building a brand can talk or give this kind of an insight. So thank you so much, Raja, for joining.
Thank you. Pleasure. And it was a great experience.
Thank you.
Thanks, Harshini. Thank you so much. Yeah.